Okay, let's talk through all these golf events that you have coming up.
Gabby, I'm glad you asked. Got my calendar right here. July 17th at Red Run, and then July 31st, I have the American Golf outing for the Cancer Society.
I also have the American Cancer Society golf outing on the 31st, and also I got yours on the 18th, buddy.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
Whoa, boys, these are a lot of events and golf outings.
Well, you want me to miss my own golf tournament?
Gabby, they're all great cars.
I mean, this is...
Hold on. I got this. Guys, I got this. Don't worry about it. Hold on a second.
He always says that.
Hey guys, thanks for coming so fast. How are ya? Remember the guys from Randy Wise, right? Sir.
Hey,
The Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour.
Watch for the eye.
It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour. Some of the biggest names in Michigan sports. And some, well, not so much. Brought to you in part by Premier Security Solutions, Fairway Packing Company, and Swiss Insurance. Watch episodes at woodwardsports.com.
And here we go! Thursday, May 25th, 2023. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com, fox2detroit.com if you're watching live. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, good afternoon to you, my friend.
What's going on, my guy? How
You,
feeling,
baby,
man?
you.
I'm good, man. You know what? It's that time of year that I love. And the reason why is once it gets summertime in Detroit, full summertime, Detroit's a very humid city. The lake effect is very serious, so it gets a little too hot, a little too humid. Air doesn't necessarily smell as good. This is that perfect time where the air is crisp, feels good off the lakes, feels good off the water downtown Detroit. I was down there earlier. This is the perfect time for the crisp cleanness. It's almost like a smooth Savion, man.
Speaking of a smooth Savion, Tom Mazawey, baby.
I'm more like a beer.
And happy 25th wedding anniversary to you.
Thank
a day
you.
late, my man.
Thank you.
What went on last night? How'd it go?
First of all, I want to say welcome back to Bray. We missed you yesterday.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Yesterday was our 25th anniversary, Kathy and I, and 3 lovely girls out of our marriage. Can't beat that. So what do we do usually? We usually go out, go to Mr. Paul's Chop House, or we
love
go
Paul and Peter.
Yep, we do that once a year. Get the Caesar salad at the table, or we'll go out down to Joe Muir's. We go to a fancy steakhouse. But yesterday, St. Joan of Arc, our beloved parish and school in St. Clair Shores, was playing for the CYO softball championship up in Farmington Hills, and we went there at Lady of Sorrows, and the girls whipped up on poor St. John the Paul. They beat him like 15-0, and St. Joan got the championship. That's what my wife wanted to do. Me, I said, okay, that's your anniversary. We'll do what you want to do. The girls were with us. Grandma was with us. And then the girls had a little surprise for us in store. And they were like, hey, Dad, we need you to stall with Mom. Go to Kroger like you usually do. Walk around the aisles with her or something. We need to set something up. I'm like, okay, girls. So we're driving home, and my wife's like, why are we stopping? I'm starving. Let's just go get something to eat, really quick, and at least we can do that. And I'm like, all right, I gotta get some iced tea and some stuff and a watermelon, because I gotta get my watermelon.
Iced tea and watermelon, man.
Gotta get my watermelon.
Let's go.
It's
that
time of year.
It's that time of the year.
Yeah.
So I give the girls the high sign. I give them the call, and we're on our way home. We walk in, and the girls have our living room set up like a candlelight dinner for 2.
It's amazing.
Champagne glasses, candles, fireplace was on, the room was dark, and they had the wedding march song playing on Alexa. Like walking down the aisle.
Here comes
my wife just lost it when she walked in. Then the girls start coming out one by one. They had 2 love seats for us sitting there, sit side by side. They served us some appetizers. We sat, we hung out.
That's a great word right there, sir.
Served. And then they took us. They said, "We're going to take you." You just ruined it. You just ruined a family moment, Braylon. This is a family moment.
So did he. Okay, I'm sorry. Man.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
This is a family.
That's a great inside joke.
Hey, that
How could I
is
use
great.
that word? I'm sorry.
That is great, dude.
All right, you know what? You got to laugh to keep from crying, man.
Okay.
Let's keep it rolling, baby.
All right. So we go to. They take us down to the basement, and they have 2 seats for us, and they played our wedding video. It was on the television. We relived our wedding video from 25 years ago. The girls, grandma, me, and Kathy. It was a spectacular night.
That's
Man.
just got to make you feel like, so loved.
I know. I looked at my wife, and I'm like, see, you're always hard. We're hard on them. Look what you did. Look what you got here. The girls they're the best.
Did a good job.
Now, when you go back and watch that video, it's 25 years ago. You
Yep.
guys walked down that aisle, man. That beautiful moment for you. Like,
Yeah.
what were you noticing in the video? Like, what were you watching? Like, what stood out to you as you watched the video? Is there anything
Yeah.
that stood out
It's a
to you?
great question.
I did. First of all, how young you looked, how you good looked.
You're still good looking, by the way.
Still good looking,
Oh,
man. You're
all my-
probably better looking 25 years ago, though.
I had a lot darker hair and I was about 50 pounds lighter. But nonetheless, I saw all my friends, and I saw 2 of my friends that were in my wedding party that have passed away since they were in, and that hurt my heart. But my dad giving the best man speech, remembering how he talked about me, and just the love in the room. I mean, everyone was having a great time. That's what I really remember, and why I really fell in love with my wife. That's what I remembered the most.
I love that,
beautiful.
man.
That's
That is so
beautiful, man.
great to hear,
Congratulations.
Tom.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And
We might not like each
Kathy, by
other,
the way.
but we love each
yeah,
other.
exactly.
All right?
Exactly.
Well, that's every married couple.
Yeah, right.
You guys got that in common.
Yeah, you don't have that's not unique to you.
I kind of figured. I kind of figured.
I am not going to let another minute pass, though, without swinging it over here.
Birthday
The great
boy.
JB, the heart and
Happy
soul of the
birthday.
show. Happy birthday to Jeremy Bryant. He does so much for us. That's Parker in the back over there, too. Jeremy, we love you, man. We
Thanks,
cannot do
guys.
this show without you. You are the best in the business at what you do, man. This guy, anything he's asked to do, he does it, and
Yeah.
he does it with a smile. We love you, man. Thanks so much. Happy birthday, JB.
Not to
Thanks,
mention, I
guys.
love our
Appreciate it.
conversations. We come in here and get it
Yep.
going. We didn't get a chance to get it today. You guys were in a meeting, but every time you come here, we get a wrestling question, or we get some gear question, or some merch, or we talk sports, man. Happy birthday to you, JB. You definitely have been the best addition to this show I think we've ever had.
Hey, my buddy Darren Hill, who watches us every day,
Shout out to Darren.
tells us, hey, this is for Braylon and Ryan and
Okay.
JB. He wrote it. Remind the guys, the gold medalist and WWE Hall of Famer Kurt Angle
Angle.
is in town for a VIP autograph session this
Ooh.
Saturday at a wrestling show in Lincoln Park.
Look at that. Kurt Angle. Dun, 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 dun.
You suck.
Let me say this about JB, though. Before I get to so one of the major reasons why I do this job is because it's fun.
Yeah.
You know, I do the Fox thing in the morning. I love it. That's my job. That's how I pay my bills. That's how I do it. I love that job. I wouldn't give it up for anything. But when I do this job, it is because it's just my passion. Sports is my passion, and I want to have fun doing it. It's being around the people, being around Braylon Edwards, being around Tom Mazawey, being around Jeremy Bryant, this guy JB, being around Chad Johnson over there. Jeremy Bryant is always smiling.
Yep.
You will never see this guy without a smile. He's happy to be around. I want to be around people that are happy and go about their business the way that Jeremy Bryant goes about it. So, dude, I love you to death. Thanks so much for everything you do. You are part of the reasons why I am here. So thank you so much. I love you, Jeremy.
Happy birthday,
Anytime,
Jeremy.
guys.
Yes, he is,
Anytime.
man.
Absolutely. That's Diz 411 says Fox 2 is business. Woodward is fun.
Sure.
I love that.
That is
you
true.
know, there's no doubt. Trust me, I have fun there, and
Yeah.
I love every minute there. But this is
You get
this
to
is
eat
my
there,
fun.
on-
Yeah, I
on
get
screen.
to eat there, no doubt about it.
Hey, you had a lot of love for your Calvin Johnson interview. You're everywhere.
I know. I can't believe it.
Outkick
How
had you
about
on.
that?
A bunch of.
You know what's funny
tweets
about that?
had you on.
You know what's funny about that too, Bray, is Calvin was on Fox 2 yesterday. Is how many people still care about the Calvin Johnson saga? It's almost there goes Big Boy.
Oh,
it's
little boy,
almost
now.
it's almost like anytime you ask Chris Webber or Jalen Rose about the Fab Five and the rift between them,
still there, yeah.
it's going to get written about 30 years later. Anytime you talk about Calvin Johnson and the relationship with the Lions, it's going to get written about, and it's picked up just about on every major national outlet.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where, look, Detroit doesn't have a lot of those guys in the last couple of years that are legends, that are Hall of Famers, guys that are iconic. Calvin Johnson is indeed iconic. And he left the game, and a lot of Detroiters, man, they sided with Calvin. He was forced out. He was pushed out. You look how they handled it. Detroit Lions didn't handle it the best. That was that old regime. That was that old front office. They didn't handle it the best with Calvin, but Calvin has – this is the difference, though. Barry, when he retired, Barry disappeared. Calvin retired, but he's in the city. You see him out. He's got the dispo up there. He's at Rocket Mortgage. He has a charity in town. He stays in the heart of Detroit. So when you're seeing that as a Detroit, it's like – well, he's still in Detroit. He's still showing love to Detroit. You know what? The Lions did him a disservice, and that doesn't typically happen. The fans usually side with the organization, but in Calvin's case, he's iconic. You don't have too many of that. You got to side with Calvin, and I think that's what you're starting to get. But he misses the Lions, and you're starting to see those guys get back together. I think it's going to be a good marriage and partnership in the years to come.
Dan Campbell spoke with the media today. We will have some of his comments a little bit later on in the show. Also, some Pistons news. There is some Tigers stuff to get to breaking today as well. But before I get to that, can I just say one thing that was just bugging the absolute dog crap out of me?
I got something for you, too.
Okay.
Go for it.
I was watching the game last night, Tigers game, and Zach Short hits a home run. And, you know, the graphic comes up. Home run number, whatever. Two. Feet, the home run traveled, whatever. 400, whatever. And then exit velo, launch angle. If I never see exit velo, launch angle, WAR, PFIP, spin rate, whatever this crap is.
WAR is something, though.
You use it however you want. I don't need to be consumed with it as a fan. They took batting average off the Jumbotron at Comerica Park in favor of OPS.
Yeah.
Did the guy get a hit or did the guy not get a hit?
Yeah.
Did the team score runs or did the team not score runs?
Good point.
What the hell is the whip? Okay, whip of, if it's less than 1.5, great. The guy going tonight's got a whip under 1, gives up a home run every. No, he doesn't walk anybody. They're all hitting home runs off the guy.
The whip, I thought that was Kevin Spacey in House of
Oh
Cards.
my
was the
God!
whip.
Wasn't he the whip? I agree with you on that 100%.
Get
right. I'm
enough
tired
of yourself.
In every sport, I get sick the most in basketball. I get sick the
Spin
most
rate.
in basketball. You get J.J. Redick. He is addicted to freaking analytics, if you will, and everybody else in basketball. I hate that one stat, though, where they do the adjusted minutes, points, the adjusted points per game per minute. It's like, well, he only had this amount of points. But if you look at how many minutes he played and you add that, he actually is at, no, he's not. He's averaging the points that he's averaging. He had the points that he had.
The
I
hell's
hate that freaking
PFIP?
stat.
Does anybody know what PFIP is?
Yeah, we do reads for them. It's Planet Fitness, right?
Exactly.
Right.
He's Planet Fitness.
Speaking of which, after you eat at Fairway Packing, you can go to Planet Fitness.
Excuse me a second.
Yeah.
You didn't let me get my little piece
you
in.
get your you get your 2
I
cents.
got a little something for you, Ryan.
Okay.
JB, hit it, please.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports. Detroit's winning sports network.
No kidding.
Courtesy of Justin Slanik
How
and the
about
boys.
that?
That's the best.
Isn't that
Are
cool?
you kidding me?
Let's play that one more time, JB.
Slanik
One more
He's the
time.
best, man. He's got the mustache.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports. Detroit's winning sports
That's the
network.
point.
Is that great or what?
Nice job,
I love
brother.
that.
The best part
Oh,
about
man.
that moment was I remember I said it was good before it went in.
I wish
You
I was
did.
there that
You
day.
did.
Yeah, it was like
That was
it was hot
special.
as hell though.
That was special.
It was
Guys, going to stick with the Tigers for a minute, get to the Pistons, and then we'll do some Lions talk. Lots of Lions news to get to. But first, a message from Fairway Packing Company. Oh, you're going to want to get your Memorial Day packages there at Fairway. For over 60 years, Fairway Packing has provided Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, casinos with prime prime beef, Wagyu beef, and dry aged beef. You can experience the Fairway difference for yourself today. Visit the steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods for those grab-and-go steaks. If you can't do that, they ship anywhere. Fairwaypacking.com, fairwaypacking.com. Sourced, cut, aged, packed to perfection.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports. Detroit's winning sports network.
Woodward Sports Network. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Coming up on 44,000 subscribers. If you can't watch live, download the podcast. Leave a 5-star review anywhere podcasts are available. Of course, woodwardsports.com for all the latest news, articles, updates, show clips, and merchandise. And this is just another piece of merch that you can get on woodwardsports.com. Love the shop there. Reasonably priced items that feel good, look good.
I think that's the kick. I think that's the kicker. They feel good. Like when you put those, so I will say that about the Woodward Sports line. Man, you put that stuff on, it fits good. They're great fits, and it feels good.
No doubt about it. And there is no sponsorship patch on this Woodward Sports gear, but there is on the Detroit Tigers uniforms. After 100 years, you're going to have a sponsorship patch on the Tigers' arm. They just announced this a couple of hours ago. Meyer is the new logo that will be on the iconic Detroit Tigers uniforms. Landmark level sponsorship with Meyer. It's the club's first jersey patch partner, a multi-year extended partnership. And we'll take a look at it now. Do we have a?
We have the video from the Tigers
We have
themselves.
the video of it. Here it is. Here's the announcement.
This city, this state, drenched in history. Families planting roots in the Michigan soil and watch generations grow and prosper right here. Families create businesses that serve us all and eventually become the centerpiece of our communities. But the part that stitches us together is our traditions. The things that we all share together. Those road trips to cheer on our favorite teams, and those epic opening day tailgates. Those Michigan summer nights, a backyard barbecue, cold beer, and the Tigers on TV. There's nothing better. It's walking into the store and seeing someone you know. It's getting to your seats with the anticipation to hear them yell, "Play ball!" Traditions grow and evolve, and sometimes they even come together and grow stronger. Today, we stitch these two traditions together to grow together, to push Detroit ahead together, and to win together.
So there you have it, Tigers and Meyer.
Thank you to Tigers on Twitter, tigers.com.
Absolutely.
Please.
The video seemed to be a little bit extra, I think, but I hate it, but I understand it.
Yeah.
I hate it, but I understand it. You cannot put the toothpaste back in the tube. You just can't do it. Jersey pad, and we're probably going to see more of them. Every team is going to have them. And the Detroit Tigers are just the latest. At least it's a clean, local company. It's a clean logo. It's a clean brand. But I hate it. But I understand it. If you have the opportunity to make a buck, you're going to make the buck.
We had this conversation, I believe, last year. We were talking about the Red Wings were talking about putting something on that iconic jersey that they have, and we were like, hell no, not the Red Wings, not the Red Wings. The Tigers, another iconic uniform, another iconic jersey. You don't want to see it, but Ryan, you make an excellent point. Like, this is where we are. Once the NBA started that, in I guess circa day 2015, 14, 16, whenever that was, we knew it was only a matter of time. The only thing you really can take from it is, hey, Myers is local. We know Myers brand. Hell, I go to Myers LGPGA outing every year up there in Grand Rapids, so I know the brand. I shop at the brand, and it is clean. Like, it's not one of these FanDuel logos. It's not one of these things that you're like, what is this new trending thing? It's going to be a part of that iconic jersey. Myers is homegrown. It is something that we all know. We've all been there, and it's clean. What the hell? We're going that direction anyway.
Yep.
At least it's something we recognize.
Here's the thing on the home whites, it's a white patch with the blue mire. You don't really see it a lot, but on the road jerseys, you're going to see it. It's on a gray, obviously jersey, and it's a dark blue patch. That's the one I don't really care for. I mean, it is what it is, but the Mets, the Met fans went crazy because the Mets have some hospital on theirs, and it was small like the Mire one, and then the next week, the hospital insisted on a larger patch. The patch takes up most of the arm on the Mets jersey. So be thankful that this patch isn't that big. Take a look at the Mets jerseys when you get a minute. I mean, it wrecks it completely. This one is not so bad.
One thing I liked about, back when when I was playing in the NFL 2005, you would have sponsorship on jerseys, but it was practice jerseys.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was in Cleveland playing for the Browns, we had Cleveland Clinic. It was on our practice jersey.
Rocket Mortgage for the Lions.
Exactly. It's a practice jersey. So you wear it, you see it. You get a lot of airtime with practice clips because you're always going to practice. What happens on Tuesday? What are the guys ready on Thursday? Once they took it to the actual game day jersey, I was like, can we just leave it in practice? Maybe they're not getting what they needed out of it.
The Red Wings have it on their helmet.
I was just going to say the Detroit Red Wings have Meyer on their helmet, and I'm just looking at some of the stats here. 84% of teams in the NHL have helmet logos.
Yep.
Only 38% of the teams have sponsors on their actual sweater, their NHL sweater. And the Boston Bruins are one of those. The Montreal Canadiens are one of those. The Toronto Maple Leafs are one of those. So you've got 3 of the original 6 teams having those sponsorship patches. In Major League in the NBA, 87% of the teams in the league have a sponsorship on a jersey. So I mean, it's just going that way. I wish in a non-salary cap sport, maybe it would be great if you take the money that Meyer's paying you and go get an extra bat.
They might at the deadline this year.
Seriously. I mean,
they might.
That wouldn't
surprise you. I mean, not surprise.
No, that wouldn't.
That would make you feel better.
That would make me feel better about it if you say, you know what, all the money we're getting from this, we're going to go get a bat.
They're getting 8 figures. That's
a lot of money. Go get a $10 million bat. Fine.
That's a lot of cheese.
It is. It is. But this team could use some help. They did get a win last night.
It starts tonight, by the way. Their jersey patch starts tonight.
They're 1 game in the loss column out of first place.
Yep.
So is that half game back?
They're 2.5 out, I think, because the Twins have played so many more games than them. Gotcha. But
they got the White Sox now, and then they get the Rangers, which is going to be tough. But the White Sox are very beatable right now. Get them right now, Tigers.
Sorry, Jimmy John's just trying to deliver. Jimmy John's just trying to serve up some sandwiches. In here.
Hey, man, would you knock it off over there? It's not funny. But hold on. But the thing about it was we've had people come to that door, the mask cam, ladies and gentlemen. You've seen people come to that door, but you give them a quick go the other way, and they turn around like, oh, I'm sorry. He was trying to Debo his way in that door. Pissed. I said, no, go the other way. What do you want me to do? I want you to cut that ponytail off. That's what I want you to do. It's 2023. What the hell you doing with a rat tail? I guess working at Jimmy John's.
He might turn that into a man bun later.
I guess we can't go to Jimmy John's for any sponsorship patches on Woodward Sports anymore. Oh, man.
They already they're covered by the USPBL.
Oh, thank you. Very good.
Okay,
very good. Guys, going to take a break. Come right back. When we do, we're going to get into some Pistons talk. Something that you and I both talked about came true yesterday. Came true yesterday.
Shocking.
We're going to get into it. Plus, Dan Campbell spoke with the media. Get you some of those clips. Pretty good stuff from Dan Campbell as well. But first, a message from Planet Fitness.
There it is.
Fitness is your judgment-free zone where you can work out for just $10 a month.
Only $10?
Yes, only $10. But right now, Planet Fitness is thrilled to allow high schoolers ages 14 through 19 in the U.S. and Canada to work out for free all summer long, all the way up until August 31st with their new Planet Fitness High School Summer Pass. Teens can gain access to the club right now after registering, and remember, registering is still open all the way up until August 31st. But that's not all, because Planet Fitness is also giving away over $200,000 to high schools and students. Teens at ages 14 through 19 who register for the High School Summer Pass can help win a scholarship for their school and participate in a TikTok video contest for the chance to win academic scholarships. Visit the landing page for more information and legal disclosure at pfsummerpasscontest.com. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Hey, welcome back. Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. Head there for all the latest news, articles, updates, show clips, and merchandise. Of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Woodward Sports on YouTube. You can watch us right from your couch on your big screen TV. Just say Woodward Sports on YouTube into your remote and watch us live. Maybe you're in your car, on your phone, on your tablet, however you're watching Woodward Sports. We absolutely appreciate you. Braylon Edwards, want to talk a little Detroit Pistons now, if we could.
Let's do it.
Because something happened yesterday that both pleased me and disappointed me.
Monty Williams.
Monty Williams.
Is it Monty?
It was revealed yesterday that the Detroit Pistons, according to Mark Stein, made a big money offer to Monty Williams to make him their next head coach. But it appears he has declined it. So let's just start with a little bit of a pat on the back for both of us here.
Okay.
One, I said that I did not think Monty Williams was going to take this job unless they got the #1 pick. Yeah. Also, I needed to see that the Detroit Pistons were serious about winning.
Yeah.
They needed to show me that they were serious about winning. And the way to do that is to hire the best head coach on the market right now, which is Monty Williams. I needed him to decline the offer. I needed them to make an over-the-top offer to him, trying to convince him to come here. It appears they've done that. He doesn't want to come here. I'm okay with it. You also said there's no way he's coming.
Yeah, you look at an individual like Monty Williams. Monty Williams has been out with Phoenix for the last 5 years, got to the conference final, got to the championship, got to the finals, was up 2-0. But then Chris Paul happened. Then this year DeAndre Ayton happened. So he's one of those coaches. He's an elite coach, just needs a better opportunity. That guy wants to win a championship, and I said it to you, Ryan and Monty. People that want to win a championship in the NBA as head coaches, this is not the stop for them. You look at what the Detroit Pistons have been since they fell apart with the, well, I'm not going to say fell apart. Since the going to work Pistons were over, it's just been a ton of revolving door of coaches coming here, players coming here, overpaying for players that are past their prime, getting rid of players, bad lottery picks, no lottery picks if you really want to be honest, and it just doesn't feel like the NBA loves the city of Detroit. So why would I come here if I'm a coach who has a championship cachet, if I can get to the finals, if I'm hot on the presses right now, I know there's some teams, there's some cities out there that want my services. I can get into the picture of getting to the conference finals, getting into the finals, and potentially winning the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Monty Williams looks at the Detroit Pistons much like any other Nick Nurse, Budenholzer, Doc Rivers, and the list will go on as, look, man, nothing against the city of Detroit, but if I want to win, if I want to make it count, I can't come to the Detroit and trying to put together a rebuild that has been going on for the better part of 2009 now, for being honest, 2009. So you're talking 15-year rebuild that doesn't seem like it's getting any better anytime soon. You got to look at all those things, man. Lottery picks, lottery balls, players, coaches, end of the prime, players, what do they say once they leave here? If I'm a head coach and I'm like one of those guys, this just isn't the place I'm looking for. No shout out to Detroit. I'm from Detroit, but it's just not the place I'm looking to go to.
Here's the good thing that you can look at as well, right? They're probably going to hire Kevin Ollie. That's the sidebar. The good thing is they haven't hired him yet because I think they're really digging. I do believe that they're trying to get a big name here, a guy that's going to stay here and watch these kids grow up and become a playoff contender. Kevin Ollie's probably going to get the gig, but at least they didn't hire him yet. That tells me they're still trying.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, this is another thing too, Ryan. You hit the nail on the head. It's like last year, and we've talked about this before. When Deshaun Watson was on the market, now we know off the field, we know all the other things, but when Deshaun Watson was on the market, the Detroit Lions were looking for a quarterback last year. Jared Goff wasn't the answer necessarily. A lot of questions about
Not after 3-13-1.
Exactly.
Right,
Exactly. Not after 3-13-1, especially considering how he came into here, the insecurities, whatever. Detroit Lions didn't even take a flyer on Deshaun Watson, and that was a big thing for the city. Look, we know we don't want to pay $250. We know we weren't going to get him, but at least get into the sweepstakes. At least make an offer, and it's been like that before. You hit the nail on the head. They made an offer. They made him a big offer, apparently. They went after Monty Williams. You can't be mad at that. And to piggyback that to what Maz said, they still haven't hired a coach. And Maz is absolutely right. That means they're trying to find somebody, not only that wants to come here, but that they believe in, that can work with this group that they have. Because they got some talented guys on this team.
Yeah,
but you got to get the right coach. You got to get a guy that wants to be here. You can't just pay somebody $15 million a year that doesn't want to be here because they're going to coach like they don't want to be here. So shout out to the Pistons, at least we think. They're trying to find someone that, one, fits the bill, two, has damn sure experience, and three, can coach this team.
So here's the deal for me. I had mentioned that something happened that both pleased me and upset me. And obviously the part that pleased me was the offer to Monty Williams. Yeah. Here's what upsets me. The Detroit Pistons have made the playoffs 3 times in the last 15 years.
Ouch.
In those 3 playoffs, they were swept out of the first round, 0-12 in those games. In the last 15 seasons, they have one season. One in 15 years.
Over 500?
Where they've won more games than they've lost. They made the playoffs under 500. They made the playoffs 41-41. And they made the playoffs one time. One winning record in the last 15 years. You can make an argument, ladies and gentlemen, that the Detroit Pistons are the absolute worst franchise in the entire NBA. Find me another team that has been as bad as they have been over the last decade and a half.
I would have had a team for you, except for they were good this year, and that's Sacramento.
Sacramento Kings.
They're no longer on that list.
I don't think there's a team in this league that is as bad as the Detroit Pistons. Yeah. And that is why you haven't hired a head coach yet. That is why Monty Williams doesn't want to come here. I get zero pleasure out of saying it, but the record is what the record is. And I know they've got some guys that we're excited about. We're excited about Cade Cunningham. We're excited about Jalen Duren. We're excited about Jaden Ivey. But, man, this is a man's league. This is a man's league.
It is.
These guys are 19, 20, 21, 22 years old. It's going to take several more years. Several. Maybe 4 or even 5 years before they develop into what we hope they can develop into. And that puts you at 20 years. That puts you 20 freaking years of just horrificness, if that's even a word.
We're at 19 without a championship already.
And you're at 15 with one winning season in 15 years. How much more can people take?
I mean, it's tough. And I mean, you look at it. You look at the Detroit Lions. We were talking about the Detroit Lions before last year, where they win 8 of the last 10. They're 9-8 on the season. They played tremendously during the last 10 games. They beat Green Bay. Like, you saw the turnaround with the Lions, but we were saying the same thing about the Lions. How bad that franchise, well, technically still is, if you want to do it that way. How bad that franchise was, but it wasn't because of the NFL. Like, it wasn't because of the NFL. It wasn't because of outside things. It was always the Detroit Lions. It was the front office. It was the moves they made. It was the money they didn't spend. It was the players they chose to let go. It was a lot of self-sabotaging with the Detroit Lions. With the Pistons, I'm telling you, and I don't want to I don't want to put too much credit, or I don't want to put too much onus on the NBA, but you got to get players to be able to change the narrative. You got to get a number 1 pick. You got to get a number 2 pick. You got to get a number 3 pick. You got to give the city a chance to fight. You can't fight with your hands behind your back. And when you're getting the 5th pick in the lottery every year, you're essentially fighting with your hands behind your back. Victor Wembanyama is a guy that generational talent changes the narrative of your city. Zion Williamson, we assume, was a guy that will change the narrative of your city. Kevin Durant, and the list goes on. You got to get one of those guys or 2 of those guys. The fact that the last pick, other than Cade Cunningham, that we had in the top 3 was Darko Milicic in 2003. You've had 2 picks, and your team has been this bad. Like, it's only so much an owner can do. It's only so much a team can do. What do
you guys think of the last, and I gave you guys a sheet about this, the last 10 Pistons coaches? Let's pop it up there. Thanks to Pistons Talk, our good friend Anthony Colombo does a great job. But what do you think of this group of guys? And do you see like a descending order, how it started off with Larry Brown and, going from there?
Yeah, it's gone down from there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you're talking about Coach of the Year candidates on here, though. Lawrence Frank, Coach of the Year. Mo Cheeks, Coach of the Year, I believe. Stan Van Gundy was a Coach of the Year. Dwayne Casey was a Coach of the Year. So it's not like they got crap coaches.
Right.
I mean.
They all failed.
They all failed here.
True.
Rick Carlisle, Coach of the Year.
Stan might have set, and I love Stan, he might have set the team back another 10
Flip
years.
Saunders, Coach of the Year. 6 of the 10 guys on this list were Coaches of the Year.
So they're trying, I guess.
I don't have a problem with when you look at Flip Saunders, you look at Larry Brown, you look at Rick Carlisle.
What happened?
Actually, they played Rick Carlisle, but that's a whole other story. Dwayne, when you go to the top of the list, Dwayne Casey coming off Coach of the Year. Only reason he got fired is because he couldn't beat LeBron James. Well, guess what? LeBron James wasn't even the East when they fired him. He would have been good. Stan Van Gundy, he may be a coach that you don't like, but he definitely has good coaching cachet. Comes from a coaching family. His father's in the Hall of Fame. But when you go 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, shoot, 4's last name lets you know what the Pistons coach have been. Cheeks. And that's another word for ass.
So a couple of people in the chat are saying that the Charlotte Bobcats / Hornets are worse than the Detroit Pistons. No, they're not.
They still got all-stars. Shoot, last time I checked, when Melo Ball was healthy 2 years ago, made the All-Star game. Last time I checked, before Miles Bridges got into that situation, he was about to get a huge paycheck, a huge deal. The Charlotte Bobcats, the Charlotte Hornets are better than the Pistons.
Do you know how many times the Charlotte Bobcats lost 50 or more games in the last 15 years?
Bobcats and Hornets, give it to me.
3.
Pause.
Do you know how many times the Detroit Pistons have lost 50 or more games in the last 15 years?
11.
8.
Wow.
So it's not even that they suck.
No comparison.
I mean, they really suck. I mean, it's like not like 39 and 43 or like 32 and 4.
12 and 70.
It's not like it's like 33 and 49. I mean, they're freaking
18 and 64. I mean, 18 and 64.
Jesus, come on.
Like the Pistons
17 and 65, 23 and 59, 20 and 52, 20 and 46. The only reason they didn't lose 50 or more games 9 times was because in 2020 they had a shortened season.
You're not lying about that.
That's the only reason. Otherwise, it would have been 9 times in 15 years.
There's going to be a football team to win more games than the Pistons soon.
I mean,
they play 17 regular season games.
It's just like, come on now already. You know, I mean, Troy Weaver, go do so. I've heard about all your moves and all your draft and all the development. Oh, this guy's wheeling and dealing. This guy is Yoda or whatever you want to say about him. This guy's a genius. Go do something, man.
Let me ask you a question, though, Ryan. Like, what can you do?
I don't know. I'm not a general manager, but he is.
He is a general manager, but he's also a general manager for the Detroit Pistons. We just talked about where their draft stock.
No one wants to come here.
No one wants to come. Like, no free agent wants to come here. What were we saying about the Detroit Lions? Like, see, now the Detroit Lions, but that's this offseason. Go back last year. But the Pistons are even worse. And I'm telling you, the thing that we're overlooking, the thing that we're glossing over, that going to work Pistons team wasn't supposed to win a championship. They put that's a hodgepodge. Chauncey Billups.
That was a Joe Dumars championship.
Exactly.
So go get your Troy Weaver 8th seed in the playoffs. But can't you get it? But okay.
That's not going to happen.
Nobody
again.
wants to come here. Can't you be the 7th or 6th team in the East?
No,
you can't. You can't even get there.
You can't get a draft pick. First of all, you got to at least have a stud on your team. You got to have a KD. You got to have a guy that is the guy. Night in and night out, people fear him. Night in and night out, you know this guy is going to be 27, 9 and 7 or 27, 6 and 6. You know you're going to get that. He's going to be on ESPN or wherever the hell wants to show us highlights. You need a guy like that. That gets you in the ball game. That gets you in the room. Now you get players like, ooh, I kind of want to go play with that guy. I may take a chance on that. Then you get coaches like, well, I want to coach that guy. I see where they're going. They can't get that. You got to get the draft stock. You got to get one of those guys because coaches don't want to come here because players aren't here. Players don't want to come here because coaches aren't here. And once again, I promise you, NBA does not like the Detroit Pistons. Started in the 80s.
We know.
You started in the 80s. The going-to-work Pistons, they hate them too because they weren't supposed to beat the Lakers. And then the Malice in the Palace happened. You can say what you want to. I'm being conspiracy theory Braylon today. No, this is called facts. David Stern did not like the Detroit Pistons, and it came down to Adam Silver. It was inherited by Adam Silver. We know the lottery is fixed. We couldn't get one of those ones when one of those guys was out there. No knock to Cade Cunningham. We appreciate you, and we know that he's a leader, plays on both ends of the court.
He's going to be fine.
He's going to be a damn good player for the Detroit Pistons, but it's very eerily funny that we got number one when it was Cade Cunningham and not the year before, not the year after.
Would you trade one of these guys?
Of course.
Like a Duran for somebody, like a
Duran and your first round pick.
What about
go get one of those Celtics?
What about does Philadelphia want to start again? What about Ivy, Duran, and the first round pick for Embiid? You know, I mean, like that's what I'm talking about. Get it through a trade.
But I think here's the other thing too.
Does that work? Would that work?
In order to do the trades, it takes two to dance, Ryan. It takes two to tango. You can't dance by yourself. Well, you can, but that's a lonely road. Like, it takes a team to say, hey, you know what? We'll work with the Pistons. But you know what that team has to do first, Ryan? They got to run that decision by Joel Embiid. They got to run that decision by Kevin Durant. They have to run that decision. Insert big-name NBA player. They got to run that decision. And I guarantee you most franchises are like, we don't really want to do any business with Detroit because we know our players don't want to go to Detroit. And then other players will look to come and say, no, we don't want to come to you, Philadelphia, because we saw you send Joel Embiid over there to the Detroit Pistons. Remember Gronkowski? The Detroit Pistons, the Patriots were talking about talks. And Rob Gronkowski, he
said, I'll retire.
He wasn't lying.
No.
And he wasn't lying. That's a real deal.
So just something to think about, man. I just, when I was digging into the numbers today, I had no idea.
I never saw you more passionate about the Pistons.
Seriously, because I love the Pistons. I mean, the Pistons were the team that made me be a sports fan.
Yeah.
I cared so much about those bad boy Pistons losing to the Celtics.
It's going to take a Jimmy Butler situation. And obviously we're bringing up the Heat because they are 8 seed, because they are a ragtag group of guys. Now that ragtag group of guys, by the way, they can hoop. We don't disrespect their hoop game, but they are not the teams in the NBA playoffs. It's going to take a situation like that where a guy has been going through a couple teams. He may think differently, and there might be a pariah somewhere, and comes here. This is a saving situation, and he just turns into a perennial all-star. It's going to take a situation like that.
How about giving Spoelstra a little piece of the action and telling him to come?
Hey, I'm down.
Give him a piece of the action.
He ain't leaving Pat Riley.
No, he's not.
Why would he?
Because he's going to become Pat Riley. That's the next move for him. He'll be Pat Riley.
Guys, no doubt. Hey, you want to be like somebody? Be like Spenny. Our guy Spencer Raxter just walked away with a new Chevy Blazer from Les Stanford. You can walk away with one too. and Les Stanford in Dearborn. They've also got Les Stanford in Ferndale, a trusted name for over 50 years. Les Stanford has expanded into Ferndale. Les Stanford Buick GMC, same great service that customers have come to know. You can go check them out on Woodward, just south of 9 Mile. And of course, looking for a Chevy or a Cadillac, located there on Michigan Avenue in the great city of Dearborn. You can find the brand you want under one umbrella. LesStanford.com. LesStanford.com.
Find a new road.
Find them.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Kroger's, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
Big Boy Strawberry Fest has officially arrived, and we're here to show you the very best flavors of the season. Satisfy your sweet tooth with our deep-fried vanilla Oreos, strawberry hot fudge cake, and a slice of our classic strawberry pie. But that's not all. Cool off on a refreshing summer splash salad, or savor the flavors of our chicken Caesar wrap and strawberry bacon chicken wrap. And for breakfast lovers, don't miss out on our strawberry hotcakes or our mouth-watering red velvet waffle. Strawberry Fest is something for everyone. Celebrate the sweet season with us at Big Boy.
All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Hey, let's get to over 100 likes on YouTube right now. If you're watching live on YouTube, we appreciate you. Hit that like button. It helps YouTube push our content out to more people. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Coming up on 44,000 subscribers. Braylon Edwards. The Lions have OTAs, organized team activities, voluntary. Everybody is there. Huh?
I never knew what that stood for.
Yeah, look at that.
I'm joking.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe the people out there never knew what that stood for. But organized team activities. It is voluntary. Everybody's there. Jameson Williams could participate in this. He could participate through the preseason, and then he's got to sit for 6 games. J-Mo was asked today, did speak to the media, was asked about the gambling suspension, said he was totally caught off guard by it. He didn't know he was breaking any rules, and he feels there's more confusion about it across the league. It, quote, made him sick, end quote, when he found out that he knew he was hurting the team. He said, I'm not a gambler, I'm a football player. Pretty responsible stuff there, and that's exactly the kind of stuff we want to see from number 9 of the Detroit Lions.
When this story first broke, I've always taken the stance that the NFL, much to what they tell people, did not always do that. They do not always sit guys down and say, these are the exact rules. They sometimes just hand out things. They sometimes have meetings and they don't make it mandatory for you to attend those meetings. I know a couple of meetings that happened when I was playing football that I didn't know about it. I didn't know that I had that meeting. It wasn't mandatory. They say, hey, we got a meeting about this. It's optional. Well, when I'm 22, 23, 24 years old, I just want to go home. I want to go home and get on my at that time, PS3. I want to go get on my Xbox 360. Like I want to get away from the building and go enjoy life. And I guarantee you that's what they did here. And a lot of these rules, what they were talking about, some of these rules, Tom Mazawey, were already in place as it relates to gambling. The same rules that I saw in the locker room when I was playing, the same things they tell you, don't gamble. They're talking about cars. They're talking about
Except you didn't have a phone.
Exactly. Well, I had a phone, but I didn't have access to sports gambling. Yeah, 100%.
That's what I meant.
So I don't think they gave him, and the NFL, it's a reason why a lot of players are still getting in trouble. It's a reason why, for all the money they may make, for the money they may be making in the future, they're not putting bets out here to make $2 million. They're not placing bets to make $100,000, even $25,000. They're just having some fun. Now, it is his fault in terms of how he handled the situation and posting everything in Vegas. I thought that was a little I thought that was a little sensitive to what people saw. But outside of that, I agree with him 100%. But I want to see what he does in this time period. I remember Santonio Holmes, when he got to the Jets, he was serving a 4 or 6 game suspension that he got when he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But when he came to the Jets, when he was able to practice in OTAs, in minicamp, and he couldn't practice training camp, but OTAs and minicamp, he was out there going. He was out there giving all that he had. He was out there making it happen. He was very focused. He was very into it. He was dialed in. That's what I want to know with Jameson Williams. Can you be dialed in this period? Is somebody going to take you under their wings? Amon-Ra St. Brown was only 1 year season-wise older than him. James Reynolds, Marvin Jones II is now here. Are they going to take him under his wing? Is he going to listen? Because even though he made a mistake, let's give him the credit. He made a mistake, or even though he's saying the right things, you got to back it up with action. And that's what the city of Detroit is looking for, number 9, to back it up with action.
I hate that the NFL gave him a 6-game suspension. Yeah. I hate that they suspended those other guys for a year, including Calvin Ridley. Listen, if you're going to put gambling on this thing is with us 24/7. Yeah. A lot of us use it like it's another part of our body. Some of us don't. These kids do. You live with it. TikTok, Instagram, everything. They're on social media. It's part of social media now. It's so easy to put a bet in. I could put a bet in right now as I'm doing the show and talking to you.
You used to.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's too freaking easy. They make it too easy, and then they're going to punish you. That's where I don't like it. There's going to be stadiums named after FanDuel and MGM and all of that kind of crap. I disagree with the amount of punishment that they're giving these players. You want to give them a game or two or fine them, that's one thing. But this is bull, and it hurts a team, and I just disagree with it. And I've said it before, the NFL are a bunch of hypocrites. It sucks. I think they really went overboard with the 6-game suspension and the year suspension for the other guys.
I've agreed with Uncle Maz since he's first said that. He has stood that stand since they first announced what Jameson Williams did. Maz, Ryan, Gentry, JB, Clark, you know what's up next? You know what's coming next. You know who the NFL is going to get in bed with? Because last time I checked, I believe they made
the Bunny Ranch
$4 billion here in the state of Michigan alone. Cannabis. That's going to be the next issue.
Yep.
They're going to get in bed with marijuana. They're going to get in bed with cannabis. It's going to be this because they got a lot of money. If you don't believe me, look around Birmingham. It's a lot of money in cannabis right now.
Holy crow.
Look,
it's going
at 100%. That's going to be the next boom, the next sponsor that the NFL gets in bed with. And here we'll be right back at square one. Can they smoke? Can they not smoke? Well, they can. It's legal here. Well, it's legal here. Well, they can smoke during the season because they don't test you for street drugs during the season. But they do random pop-ups in the off season. Guys are going to get popped. We're going to be right back talking about the same thing. I guarantee you, cannabis is 3 years away.
Well, I'm surprised it's not there yet. I remember listening to a State of the League press conference years ago, even before gambling was legal, like before the pandemic even. And Roger Goodell was asked about legalizing marijuana in the NFL, or not legalizing it, but not testing for marijuana. And I couldn't believe the guy was asking the question. The reporter was asking the question because it was so taboo at that time.
Yeah.
I don't even think marijuana was just medical marijuana was slowly becoming legal. And Roger Goodell sat there and answered the question. I was like, whoa.
So he basically lets you know we've already been talking.
No, yes, yeah. He has been thinking about that. But part of that, too, is that was all part of when the movie Concussion was coming out. And all of these pain relievers. And guys would be talking about how many pills they would pop just to get out of bed, what it took just to get out of bed because of the pain management. So they talked about marijuana as a health aid instead of... Because the thought is, I'd rather a guy smoke a little bit of weed than pop 20 pills in order to relieve some pain.
Yep.
My second. Well, I tore my ACL my first year in the NFL. Tore it, and I rehabbed the whole off season. So 2006, I'm rehabbing the whole off season, and then going into that season, I was rehabbing with an individual on the team, Kellen Winslow Jr., and he had a surgery as well on his knee. We had him on the same day. So we basically rehabbed together. Once the season started, his knee was shot because he had the motorcycle accident. My knee was going through it because I'm trying to get back. I'm trying to rush back, make sure I'm the number 3 pick overall, and I make good on what I said I was going to do. Man, that season and the following season, this was our routine. Me and Kellen, we get to the facility. We already take a lower set just to get going through the day. Then once practice is about to start, you take 2 Tylenols, you take a Percocet. Then once you get through that practice, then once you get home, you got to take ibuprofen for the pain you deal through practice. Man, I'm 23 years old.
Yeah.
I'm 23 years old. I'm taking that many doses. I wish marijuana. That's what Calvin is doing. You had the opportunity. I saw it, Ryan. Great interview, by the way, with Calvin Johnson yesterday on Fox 2. You interviewed Calvin. That's what Calvin is trying to do. So many players, man. Like, you get those injuries, you get the pills, and then you get addicted to the pills, or they happen around time where players are getting cut or about to get cut, and that makes it even worse. I've never heard anybody OD on marijuana. I've never heard anybody OD on cannabis. So that's and so I think it's going to be a big thing, and it's going to get into the NFL because the NFL has been listening. But once again, once it gets into the NFL, it's going to be everywhere. It's going to be in your face. The only difference is with gambling, not everybody gambles. So you keep putting that in players' faces and they're like, oh, this is kind of cool. I'll try it. With smoking, cat's out the bag. 90% of the NFL smokes.
Yep.
So you put that in their face, you're going to see a lot of stars missing some games.
Thursday Night Football should be brought to you by cannabis.
You ain't never lied.
Because you can't get out of bed for a Thursday night game, right? I mean, how long does it take you to get out of a bed for a regular season game?
It's tough, especially as the season goes on, as you get upwards in age, as you get to year 7, as you get to year 8, as you get to week 12, as you get to week 13. You got to put one foot on the carpet at a time. You got to see how your knee feels, see how your leg feels, see how your back feels. And look, I'm not complaining because you make a good living. You make a damn good living off this. But at the same time, cannabis be a lot smoother than taking all these damn pills, messing up your kidneys, if you will.
D-Mac was way ahead of the game.
Yeah, there's no doubt. There was an article today in the USA Today on sports betting too. You're just talking about guys like Jameson Williams. Just some of the statistics for this are staggering. And the title of it by Chris Boombaka, Sports Betting Rise as a Cash Cow. Are states doing enough to curb gambling addiction? I'm not saying that Jameson Williams is addicted to gambling. I'm not saying that at all, but that story does prompt how readily available gambling is in our society 5 years to the day since sports gambling was overturned by the Supreme Court. That allowed states to open this up to gambling. 33 states plus the District of Columbia have legalized betting. According to the American Gaming Association, 39.2 million people have placed a traditional bet on sports in the past 12 months. 39 million people.
That's it?
Well,
I would think there'd be more.
Well, there's 300 million Americans in the country. Probably 230 million adults. That's a pretty big chunk of the population. A Harris poll in November revealed that 71% of sports gamblers bet on sports at least once a week. 20% of people bet on sports at least once a day.
Oh, I believe that. And the Harris poll, I can never listen to a Harris poll again.
Why?
The way Drew and Mike always do the Harris polls and call everyone with a last name of Harris.
Oh.
It's just a funny thing. That I can never think of a Harris poll otherwise.
Oh, very
good. I just think more people than that. It's just too easy, Ryan. You got this contraption in your hands. It's way too easy to put a bet in. That's why I really think the NFL really stepped over on this big 6-game suspension and those year suspensions.
Since 2018, $220 billion have been wagered. Bruno, you gotta put her in front of the camera. She belongs in front of the camera, not behind the camera. In front of the camera. Who's that, Bray?
This is my niece, Rain Victoria Harris. Say hey, Rain.
Hi, sweetie.
Say hey.
How you doing?
Mom and sister were in the neighborhood. They popped in. They heard Braylon had some bad news. So they came up to show some love. So,
man.
Everybody, Woodward Sports Chat, this is Rain Victoria Harris.
Oh, Rain, can I hold you, Rain?
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see. Will she come to me? Oh, my gosh. Hi. No.
She said he works at 5.
She's like, no. Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, I'm happy. She puts a smile on your face, unlike
it was much needed.
Unlike anybody in the world. That's awesome. We love that. All right, we're going to take a break. Top of hour number 2 coming up. But first, a message from Cousins Maine Lobster.
All right, fellas, Cousins Maine Lobster and cousinsmainelobster.com. It's the best seafood and lobster you can get. You think you're going to be in Maine and New England area, but you're right here in Detroit, USA. All you got to do is go to that QR code. You know what to do with the QR code. Just get on that thing. It'll take you right to their website. Download their app and their schedule. Call ahead if you'd like to save some money, because you get more points the more you call ahead and go pick up your product. It is outstanding lobster and seafood and the best soups, man. Lobster bisque. It is outstanding. Try it. Even the clam chowder, New England style, of course. It's all there at your fingertips with cousinsmainelobster.com.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Hour number 2 of the program. How great is that? You know, you want to put a smile on your face. Just bring a baby to the house. Braylon's niece is so precious. That is awesome. Unlike anything that you get around here. Life moves at a pretty fast pace, man, but a baby will get you to slow down real quick. Well, isn't that something?
I miss those days so much.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much I miss those days.
Well, it's funny because we're all experiencing it now a little bit. You know, Braylon's got his baby niece out there. I've got now a 6 and an 8-year-old. Your girls, you've got 2 in college, 1 in high school. I mean, it goes fast. But your screensaver is when your girls were all in elementary school.
It is, and I'll always remember them that way. That's the way I choose. I want to shrink them down and make them back into elementary school again in their St. Joan garb.
That is so great. Did you like them a little bit better back then? Were they a little bit nicer to you back then?
Oh, my God. They doted on their dad back then. Everything was awesome. Sesame Street Live, The Wiggles, all those great concerts we went to, Disney on Ice. Those were the days, man.
That's awesome stuff. They did pretty good for you last night on your 25th
They sure did.
wedding anniversary
They sure
as
did.
well. All right, guys. So Dan Campbell spoke with the media today, but before we play you some of that sound, Maz, you've got a little bit of breaking news from camp today.
Unfortunate, it's a couple of injuries. A couple of guys walked off on their own power, but they did go to the locker room early, and that's Malcolm Rodriguez and your new running back.
David Montgomery.
Both of them injured in the OTAs, not sure what it is. They walked off under their own power. Tim Twentyman reported that about a half an hour ago. So we'll have to keep our fingers crossed. This is the reason that I said, why not keep a DeAndre Swift around for just in case? And I'm not saying, come on, it's May. I know that. But these things happen. And the more depth you have at that position, the better you're going to be. That's the reason. I'd rather give back the 4th round pick in 2025 and have that guy back just in case.
David Montgomery, just a couple of a little bit cleaner with injuries. No details yet, so we don't know what their injuries are. We don't know how bad it is. We don't know how if it's a nothing burger. We just don't know anything about it. Just David Montgomery, Malcolm Rodriguez left practice early with trainers with apparent injuries. No details yet. Again, wanted to put this out there too. Dave Burkett of the Free Press says Jamison Williams spent 10 minutes with reporters after practice, said he was sick when he first learned about the suspension. He is a determined player. He's always and he's always been once he gets on the field. Says good for him. He took every question and did not cut the session short. That's the kind of stuff we want to see.
Hell yeah.
Actions speak louder than words. That's exactly the kind of, I don't want to say aftermath. The word I'm looking for.
You want to see him bounce
reaction.
back like that.
That's how I want to see it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If this is a one-off, nothing situation where you don't have to worry about it for forever, that's fine.
But
Good
it
for him.
sucks. It's
Sucks.
6
Absolutely.
games, man.
It stings, that's for sure. It
That
absolutely
sucks.
stings. So there's a lot of people talking great about the Detroit Lions. They're getting a lot of love. It's a lot of noise out there regarding the Detroit Lions. Even Louis Riddick earlier today on SportsCenter, he was asked about the Lions again. He said, look, this is my ride or die team. If they make it to the Super Bowl in February, a lot of people are going to be saying, who saw this coming? And he says, me. I see this coming. I saw this coming. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I believe in this team. I believe what they have. So a lot of noise out there. Here's what Dan Campbell thinks about that.
I mean, we can't worry about what everybody else says. Just like last year, we can't worry about when you lose 5 in a row that you're back in the dumpers again. Because if you do that, then you won't win another game. And it's the same thing here. If we're going to really buy into that and not put the work in, no, we'll get our ass kicked. So that's not what we're going to do.
And that's really it. That's really it, what's going on with Dan Campbell. Look, everybody's talking glowingly about this team. Everybody loves the Lions. Everybody thinks they're going to be good. Favorites to win the division. The expectation is they win the division, a home playoff game. Going to be a really good team in the NFC. All that stuff is great. But every year is a new year. The 8-2 is fine. The 8-2 is great. The unfortunate thing about the 8-2, Braylon, is that you don't carry it over. It's 0-0, 8-2. We should even stop talking about 8-2 now. We won't, because we're talk show hosts and we have to talk about stuff. And that's the last information we have. The latest information we have about the Detroit Lions, and the last time they played football, they won that football game. They won football games 8 out of the last 10. But again, every year is a different year, so we don't know if that's going to carry over into this year. And the only way it will is if they put in the work, is if they come out there and decide, hey, we haven't done anything in 2023. We got to put the work in. We got to roll up our sleeves, and we got to get the job done this year. Last year doesn't carry over.
Yeah, 100%. They have to stop thinking about last year. It's this year. Now people know who the Detroit Lions are. People are gunning for those Detroit Lions. Everybody makes it about the Detroit Lions in terms of the last 10 games. They got 2. Hell, I said that in the first segment because it happened. But, Ryan, this is a new year. This is a new team. Everybody assumes that the Detroit Lions are going to win the NFC North. Everybody assumes that the Detroit Lions are going to win a playoff game. Everybody, Michigan at least, assumes that the Detroit Lions have a real chance of being in the NFC Championship because how the NFC is. Well, here's a food for thought. Have the Lions played a game in terms of which they were able to come back in a major game at the end and hold on and turn the tide? Have the Lions been in a situation where they beat a juggernaut? I don't care if it's at 1 o'clock or it's at 4 o'clock. Have they beat a juggernaut? Have the Lions been on prime time and show you they belong? I'm talking about with a real contender and opponent. I'm not talking about a Green Bay team that is decimated to a certain extent. I'm talking about real time. The Buffalo Bills, if you will, had a good game against Thanksgiving. What happened at the end? They faltered. These are real things. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what it's like being in the fourth quarter, and you got Patrick Mahomes, who's used to the fourth quarter, who welcomes the fourth quarter. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what it's like playing on a Thursday game, opening the season, with everybody's eyes on you. You're the only show in town, the first show in town. How are your moods? How is your anxiety? When you're looking across from a team that's coming in here that has expectations and it's a big game, 1 o'clock games are one thing. Playing the Eagles at 1 o'clock is one thing. Playing the Minnesota Vikings and Justin Jefferson, blah, 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 is one thing at 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock and nobody's paying attention.
Ask Kirk Cousins.
When the lights are on, Kirk Cousins knows all about it. When those lights come on, it's a different game. We're just talking about the players. What's Dan Campbell going to be like as a coach when it's in these big moments. What's Dan Campbell going to be like when you got to squeeze this game right here? Because if you win this game, you put yourself in a good position to make the playoff. But if you lose this game, now you got to go on a stretch run where you're like, damn, we need all 3 of these games. Look at the end of the season run for the Detroit Lions. Minnesota, Dallas, Minnesota. Minnesota, Dallas, Minnesota. We assume that the Detroit Lions are ready to handle that road. Are they? That's the thing that you got to worry about, you got to deal with. So they don't have time to rest on their laurels from last year because at the end of the day, they didn't do anything. When you really want to call it a spade, they didn't do anything last year. Nothing to rest on. You got to go out there and you got to start fast. Because if you lose to the Kansas City Chiefs and you go out there and you get embarrassed and then you get in your head, the Seattle Seahawks are coming next, and they're a damn good football team as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions handle the early part of the season.
And, you know, that's a major portion.
Yeah.
It looks like the schedule sets up nice and easy for them, you know, outside of the first 2 games. I'm not going to say they can't go into Kansas City and win a football game.
You can't start 0-5 though.
Yeah. No, you can't, and you can't start 1-7 or 1-6. What did they start 1-6 last year? Can't do that either. But
when I was not to cut you off, Ryan.
No, please.
2008 in Cleveland. I know I talk about the season. This is the season after the 10-6, 6 Pro Bowlers, blah 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 blah. We opened up against the Dallas Cowboys. Tony Romo. I'm talking T.O. was on that team. This Cowboys team was loaded. They had just come off of that. Matter of fact, it was the year they came off of Tony Romo botching the snap. The snap. It was like T.O. was like, that's my quarterback in the whole 9 yards. They had 12 players at the Pro Bowl. I might have been 13. They had all at the Pro Bowl. We saw that same team that next year after coming off 10-6. We were like, this is our time. We're ready to make this stance. The Cleveland Browns are here. Got our ass kicked by the Dallas Cowboys. And LeBron James was wearing the Dallas Cowboys. That's why you really hate him. Now, I can understand you for that. He had a Dallas Cowboys T-shirt on in Cleveland on their sideline as they beat us down. We never recovered. Like, we never recovered. Yeah, we beat the Giants on Monday Night Football, but they sucked. If you look at that whole season, we never recovered from the first game of the season. I dropped a major pass on the sideline that could have gave us a touchdown. Derek Anderson was all over the place. Like, linemen were jumping offside. We were an S show, and we never, ever recovered from that first game.
Guys, we're going to take a break. More Lions talk when we come back. But first, a message from Big Boy.
That's it, guys. The Strawberry Fest, it is back at Big Boy. And once you get on down there for breakfast and try out those strawberry hotcakes or the mouth-watering red velvet waffle. And if you're not feeling breakfast, the strawberry bacon chicken wrap might be for you, or a salad. How about it? The nice, refreshing summer splash salad is delicious. And then it's dessert time. You know I'm talking about here. It's the classic strawberry pie. It's the deep-fried vanilla Oreo or the strawberry hot fudge cake. All of it at your local Big Boy.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
How about that rookie? He is something else. How big is that?
All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage. How would you like to win not one, but 2 vehicles of your choice? One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Get to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win. Courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome. Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Yeah, highly frustrating. It's very frustrating. But look, I don't make the rules, and so that's the new rule, and then we'll live by the new rule. We'll find a way to adjust, adapt, and still get what we want. You know, that's what you got to do. But you know, I hate that we continue to take away from the game. That's what really worries me. You know, we continue to bleed this league. You know, if we're not careful, it won't replenish at one point. But listen, it's the rules, and we'll make do and we'll adjust.
Rookies playing last year.
Dan Campbell earlier today, not a fan of the fair catch rule at all.
Yeah.
But before we talk about that, did you notice his shirt? Take a closer look at Dan Campbell's shirt today. He's wearing a shirt with Brad Holmes on it because Brad Holmes was wearing a shirt at his last media session with Dan Campbell on it.
You gotta love the bromance.
That
between
is
these
great.
guys. You gotta love this, and the thing about it, it's not. Look, it's not corny.
It's very corny, but it's cool.
But I'm corny.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm corny
I
too.
I love. There's nothing wrong with being corny. The thing about it, it's super dope because what other GM and coach are doing that? I know Sean McVay and Les Snead act like they liked each other for 1 year when they won a Super Bowl. But what other GM and coach have this type of connection? Like, this is very, very rare. In playing in the NFL, I've never seen a GM and a head coach be completely on the same level. Mike Tannenbaum and Rex Ryan, they dealt with each other. They had some good times. They had some bad times. Brian Schneider and Pete Carroll had some good times, had some bad times. Better, more good times than bad, but you don't see it like this all the time. They really, really support each other out in the public. They're on the same page. It's how you win.
I love what they're doing. I love the whole look of it. The villain gear. I mean, everything is new. This is the new Lions. It really is not SOL anymore, and that's what they're doing. It's Sheila Ford Hamp. Now it's Sheila Hamp. It's not the old team anymore. This is a whole new regime, and that's why they're getting so much love from the outside. And there might be a couple of naysayers that say they're going to be under 9.5. I don't see it. I think they have an excellent chance to beat Kansas City if they all stay healthy and come to that game week 1. It would have been a hell of a lot better if they had Jamison Williams. They don't for 6 games. They'll have to live through it and move on. But it's a good feeling for Lion fans to see all this camaraderie.
When was the last time you heard Barry Sanders say anything about the Detroit Lions, let alone positive? Anything.
Yep.
And what did he say the other day? Dan Campbell is creating a monster. Nobody wants to play this monster that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes are creating here in Detroit. That's what Barry Sanders said. And he's a man of few words.
Everybody wants to be a part of this team because of what they're doing.
Yeah.
Calvin Johnson was out at camp yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, that was great to see. Barry Sanders, man. But no, I haven't seen that. I mean, you'd probably be able to tell me more being a player, but I haven't seen this kind of relationship between a coach and a general manager ever.
It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It kind of reminds me, if you talk about everybody wants to be a part of this Detroit Lions team, it's like when Michigan got good again. And I don't bring up Michigan just to bring up Michigan. When
it's okay if you do.
When exactly, because they're holding it down right now, the Big Ten in the state. But when Rich Rod came, people slowly but surely were stepping back from Michigan. Then Brady Hoke came. And look, Brady was my coach when I was there, defensive line coach. But people took an even further step back, including myself, 100%. Jim Harbaugh comes up there, and it's like, all right, it got a little better. You're engaged. You're coming engaged. From where Jim Harbaugh was or where it started with Rich Rod to now where Michigan is, everybody wants to be a part. I see alums that I haven't seen in 20 years. I see guys wanting to be a part. You see the list get longer and longer and longer and longer as it relates to alumni weekends, homecoming weekends, certain events. Everybody wants to be a part because Michigan is where it's at. Everybody wants to be a part of Detroit Lions because Detroit Lions is where it's at.
No doubt about it. Get back to what he actually said now about the fair catch. That's about as animated as you're going to have a coach be in the offseason about any particular rule that really didn't affect him. But what I take from that passion about the rule is a love for the game.
Yeah.
And that's really what the kind of guys that he has acquired, he and Brad Holmes have acquired and kind of cultivated on that team. It's players who love to play football. And part of football is hitting and making plays and getting after it. And all this dilly-dally stuff, fair catch on the kickoff and putting the ball up here and touch football. Dan Campbell hates to see, piece by piece, the destruction of what made the game great taken away.
People used to joke that, once it started talking about protecting the defenseless receiver, how they were protecting Tom Brady in the pocket after he tore his ACL, like all that stuff, people started saying it's about to become flag football. It's about to become two-hand touch. It is. To the fact to fair catch on kicks and then move the ball to the 25. Do you know how many games I saw just tremendous plays on a kick return. I've seen Devin Hester score right in my very eyes against me. Ted Ginn had 2 kickoff returns when he played for Miami against the New York Jets when I was there. 2 kickoff returns. Then when I played for the 49ers, Ted Ginn had 2 kickoff returns, but at least this time we're on the same team. Josh Cribbs, second most kick returns all time. He was my teammate for 5 years. Those plays are magical. Devin Hester in the Super Bowl, he starts the Super Bowl off with a touchdown. Guess what? That ain't happening no more. Tim Dwight, only touchdown the Atlanta Falcons scored. That ain't happening no more. And the list goes on. That's a very important part of the NFL, man. It's a great Mel Gray, Desmond Howard. Desmond Howard is a
MVP.
Super Bowl MVP off of kick returns.
It's a great point.
Andy Reid hates it too.
I didn't even think about that, though, about Desmond. Here's an MVP of a Super Bowl.
How long was his career extended in terms of media and things?
No doubt.
Because of that. But
he doesn't get those chances probably without that.
That's an important part, and it's gone. And it's
gone. Wow. You said
Andy Reid hates it too.
Did he? I didn't hear what he had to say about it.
He basically called it flag football as well. You're killing the game. And he don't like it.
He had a good kick return and punt returner by the name of Deshaun Jackson.
Yep.
Jeremy Maclin. He knows about
now,
taking
not
it to the
everyone's
house.
going to call a fair catch. We
This
know
is
that.
true. This is true.
But you have the option to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a new way you have to practice now, right? That's another thing you have to practice. And not only that, when you try to kick, what if you want to pooch an onside kick? Now you got to make sure you're not pooching it to the 25-yard line.
Oh, here's the quote. My thing is, where does it stop, right? You start taking pieces. We'll see how this goes. You don't want to take too many pieces away, or you'll be playing flag football.
There you go.
Look at that.
Perfect timing.
Andy Reid.
Super Bowl winning Andy Reid.
It'll start off with you won't be allowed to tackle the quarterback in the next 3-4 years. Like, you won't be allowed to tackle the quarterback. And it'll go from there. I promise you, you won't be allowed to tackle the quarterback in 3 to 5 years. And
Don't
it'll
say
go.
that.
Guys, I want to take a break, and when we come back, I want to go around the league, go around the NFL, plus there's some college football news to get to as well. Lots to come back with, but first a message from Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. You can walk into any Lady Jane's right now, and you will automatically be entered to win an incredible prize. Not one, but 2 vehicles from Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. That's right, 2 cars. One for you, one for your wife, your girlfriend, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your kid, your son, your daughter, whoever. All you have to do is get your hair cut at Lady Jane's. You're automatically entered. Several locations throughout the Metro Detroit area. Several around the country as well. There is one near you. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. You could walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Wicked awesome.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
All right. Very good. WoodwardSports.com.
It's so stark.
WoodwardSports.com. Tom Mazawey, let's go around the NFL.
You got it, my friend. Hey, we talked about David Montgomery a little bit earlier. He left practice field today, the OTAs, with an injury. So did Malcolm Rodriguez. But David Montgomery the other day was really outspoken about being a Chicago Bear and how being a Bear and all that losing killed his spirit for football. Ryan, read that, please.
All right, I got to a point where it sucked the fun out of the game for me because I'm a competitor. I like to compete. That's what football's about. It's so refreshing to be in a place where that's appreciated. So here's the kicker on that. Steal a phrase from you. The Chicago media is killing him for this. And they're killing him for this because they're like, dude, it's not like you went to the Patriots or the Chiefs. You went to the Detroit Lions. I think that's kind of funny.
It is funny, but the problem with that, see, that's going to end up biting them in the ass. because they're going to use that when the Lions play against the Chicago Bears. They're going to get those quotes up, get those comments up, get those article clippings, put them all around the building, and the Lions will see that. It's not like you went to the Patriots. It's not like you went here. Meanwhile, the Detroit Lions are about to win the division. That's motivation, and David Montgomery, who already didn't need motivation to play against the Chicago Bears, it's going to give him motivation, and it's going to give – one thing I love is when you have a guy that comes to your team and he's from another team and you guys play that team, it's kind of like remember when the All-Star game used to be in a star player city, they would try to make sure that guy was the MVP. It's the same thing in the NFL. When a guy plays against his former team, we make sure that guy gets off. Like we make sure that guy gets the passes. We make sure we set up the scheme so that he's the one blitzing. He's getting all the sacks. You put a safety in a good situation, get interceptions. David Montgomery is going to have a game against the Bears. That's how the league is set up. And Dan Campbell is that type of guy. He knows how to play that NFL game.
Hey, when he said those words, I literally said the same thing that the Chicago guys said. Yeah. That's the first thing that came to my mind. I'm laughing. I'm like, bro, you're with the Lions. You're here. I know we're different Lions now, but we really haven't proved it except one streak of an 8-2 season. Besides that, we're still the same old Lions that haven't been to a Super Bowl. One of the only franchises that have never been to a Super Bowl. I mean, Chicago is not a bad place to play.
You know what it is, man? It's like when I left Cleveland and went to the Jets. Jets weren't world beaters.
No, they're the Lions of the AFC.
The Jets weren't world beaters. The Jets hadn't won any titles. They weren't in the AFC Championship run. They weren't back-to-back anything. But it was the feeling I got. Like from the organization, from the franchise, the coaches, they knew how to coach. They knew what they were doing. They were somewhat on the same page. The GM at least would talk to the head coach, Rex Ryan. I saw Woody Johnson every day. I can tell you what he looks like. I can tell you what he eats. I saw him. Didn't see that in Cleveland. It was the feeling was different. The players were different. They bought into the system. Everything was different. Like I said, they were no better than the Browns to a certain extent. But the feeling was different when I walked through the doors of Florham Park. And I guarantee it's the same for David Montgomery. The feeling is different when he walked through those doors of Allen Park.
Just goes to show you how far that this organization has come, too. That after 1 year, after a half of 1 year, really, that's what guys are saying about the Detroit
Look at the free
Lions.
agents that came here.
Right.
I mean, I think you got one of the top free agents in C.J. Gardner-Johnson that came over here. Could have went anywhere.
He's number 2. He's number 2 on the free agent list. And, Maz, you had number 1 for you.
Yep.
And for what we needed, we definitely could have used a D lineman. We could have used interior D lineman. But for what we need in terms of leadership, I think he was the best leader. He was the best leader for a secondary, and we desperately need a secondary member.
You know what else we need? We think we needed a kicker. And Ryan, I'm sorry. Brandon McManus, he gone, man.
Yeah.
The Jacksonville Jaguars released former Lion kicker that lost the battle last year, Riley Patterson, who had a great year, got rid of him to sign Brandon McManus. And let's put the tweet up because Riley Patterson was terrific last year.
And just a point about this. So yesterday I said that I thought that the Detroit Lions should absolutely go sign Brandon McManus right now.
We talked about it Tuesday as well.
Yeah, I mean, come on, look. Lions, Minnesota. Lions and Vikings, week 18 next year. 52-yard field goal. Lions down 2. Who do you want kicking that football?
Brandon McManus.
Yes.
Well, Badgley had a chance, and they're like, stay on the sideline.
But again, people in the chat, and I love the people in the chat. It's great, but they were like, "Oh, Badgley's the man." Badgley. McManus had a not that great of a year last year. Well, the Broncos sucked last year.
And Badgley also kicks. This is the other thing you got to think about. Badgley kicks indoors here. He's going to kick.
Yeah.
What about when you need him at Arrowhead? What about when you need him outside of Detroit, outside?
And my point about that is this guy's got a 9-year career of making kicks, being consistent. He's made like over 80% of his kicks in a 9-year period. That's really good for a kicker.
Super Bowl champ.
And he is a Super Bowl champ. And Riley Patterson actually, this is what good organizations do. Like the Detroit Lions. You got rid of Jamal, but look, they got rid of Jamal Williams because they could upgrade the position with David Montgomery. Yeah. They got rid of DeAndre Swift because they could upgrade the position with Jahmyr Gibbs. Jacksonville is an organization with, who's their coach from Philadelphia?
Pedersen.
Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson's their coach now.
Pedersen, what the hell?
Yeah.
Doug Pedersen.
Doug Pedersen. Doug Peterson.
Yeah.
But Riley Patterson was really good for them last
He
year.
missed 6 field goals in 2 years. 43 of 49, missed 1 extra point in 2 years.
Dare I say, great for them.
Yeah.
You know,
and they got rid of. He was better than Badgley.
Oh, easy.
And Jacksonville upgraded the position and got rid of Riley Patterson. So if Jacksonville can get Riley Patterson, move him out of there for Brandon McManus, the Detroit Lions could have done the same thing.
You know why? He didn't have a huge leg. Patterson was great inside of 50.
That's why I love Maz, man. Like 100%. This is the kicker guy over here. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah. And you look at the guy in Brandon McManus. The kicking conditions are much better in Jacksonville than they're gonna be in Denver. And you're talking about how good he was at Denver. They're smart. They're like, shoot, we get a guy that can make a 55-yarder, a guy that can make a 60-yarder. Like, you're going to need some of those.
You damn right.
So, yeah, it makes sense.
It's a playoff team that upgraded. We're a playoff team, but I don't think we upgraded. Now, I don't know about the XFL guy. I really don't. So we'll see how he does against Badgley in camp, see who wins the damn thing.
Do you want to be loyal to being good, or do you want to give yourself a chance to be great?
Yeah,
loyal to being good, or give yourself a chance to be great.
Again, what does it take? You know, $3 million maybe to get McManus instead of.
I guess we'll find out. They probably got to re-sign him.
$800,000 or something.
Yeah.
Prater got 3 a year, right? So
yeah.
For McManus, it's probably 4. Maybe it's like somewhere between 3.5 and 4, I think. Because you're talking a couple years ago. Yesterday's price isn't today's price.
Yesterday's price ain't today's
price, baby.
What else you got, Maz?
All right, let's continue on. This is one for Braylon.
Talk to me.
The other day, the rookies, they met with Tom Brady.
Oh, I thought you were going to give him Eckler.
But after Eckler, no, I'll do Eckler in a minute.
I'm going to talk about that, too.
Exactly. These are the rookie quarterbacks in their new uniforms. The other day, they got to try out their new uniforms. This is Braylon loves a good look on a player. And there are your QBs looking good in their new garb.
Looking good, man. This is from Ari Mayrow, our boy over there, the 33 team.
Look at number 5 down there, bottom right. Just take a look at him.
And he does look the best out of all of them.
He does.
He looks the best. At least he looks the part. So what happens is, Maz, and thank you for finally putting this in, they shoot these at the Rookie Premiere. Rookie Premiere usually takes place out in California. When I went, the Rookie Premiere was at USC. So Rookie Premiere was at USC. It's a fun weekend. It's literally 4 days, and you get guys come in and talk to you, former players, current players. They come and talk to you about what you'll be dealing with. You go to a couple parties. They have a rookie show. I remember they did like a comedy show. I spent my whole time on stage roasting Vincent Jackson because he had some shoes on. I might have been the first person to say, what are those? But I could be wrong. But it's just a lot of fun. But it was the first time I realized how ugly Cleveland Browns jerseys were. Like, so you go to the Rookie Premiere, and these are where the cards come out. Like the playing cards, you see those weird poses or weird things.
Yeah.
Like, I put that jersey on, and I'm looking at Antrell Rowe, who's in a brand new Cardinals uniform. I'm looking at DeMarcus Ware in that Dallas Cowboys uniform, that iconic uniform. I'm just looking at all these great jerseys, and I got to put this doo-doo brown and orange on and go out there and try to make it make sense.
That's true.
But the funniest thing was Maurice Clarett, and it wasn't necessarily funny now.
Who did he play for?
Denver. Well, he got drafted by the Broncos, and he put all his money on the incentives, and then they cut him during training camp. It wasn't funny, kind of knowing what he was going through now, but he showed up late. I'm talking about we were about to go out to start picture taking. He had just showed up, pulled an all-nighter, and guess what he did, Mass? He jumped in the Gator, and he got his Marshawn Lynch on. He drove the Gator around the whole time, didn't even take any pictures.
Oh, my God.
Like, we were like, oh, man, this is crazy. But going back to now I know what he was going through, I feel bad, but it was funny at the time.
Your boy Eckler got a new deal, too.
I know. Austin Eckler, a.k.a. Austin Eckler.
Braylon called him Eckler one time last year, and he's Eckler forever.
No, he was Eckler until he scored a fantasy touchdown.
Yes, because
then he became Eckler.
It's my first time playing fantasy
That's
football.
fine.
And I fell asleep during the draft, so I got automatic, and I got him. I said, you know what? Shoot, he's scoring 20 touchdowns a year. I'll take him. He didn't score for like the first 4 weeks.
I know, but he had a hell of a second half.
He did, but by then I was out of it.
Now, here's the deal on him. They just renegotiated him, gave him a little bit more money up front, but they didn't give him any more years. So he is going to play this year with this contract, and try to do it again next year and go somewhere else. He really doesn't want to be with the Chargers. I mean, they played him bad.
Nobody wants to be with the
They
Chargers.
They did it dirty to him.
I told you talking about Ben Johnson's team next year. Look, they don't appreciate him. They don't appreciate him. You're talking about a guy that's accounted for upwards of, 35 touchdowns?
He's a stud.
35 touchdowns in the last 2 years. He asked to get paid, asked to get a little bit more money, asked to be shown his worth by the Los Angeles Chargers. They say no, so now he's requesting the trade. The fans were livid at all. The fans always go when the guy that's trying to leave and get paid. He gives you 35 touchdowns. You don't give him any more money. He asks to request a trade, and now you're booing him. Now you're mad at him. Look, man, that guy deserves some money. I'm not saying he deserves to break the bank. 35 touchdowns in 2 years, man. Come on, man. You got to pay him something.
Yep.
No doubt.
Hey, Stephen Baffy on our chat. He says, Maz, Parker Romo was arguably the best XFL kicker. He has a much bigger leg than Badgley. I still think Badgley has a slight edge, but I think this invite is more than just a camp leg. So I hope Stephen Baffy is right. I hope
Hey, that's
Parker
great.
Romo's
And like I said, I don't.
Maybe they got it. Maybe he's 25 years old.
Absolutely. Maybe they got their guy, and that's great.
Brad Holmes knows how to find him at a price.
Known versus unknown. That's all I'm going with.
Yeah.
You know, no doubt. All right, I'm going to take a break. Come right back. More NFL, more college. Deion Sanders in the news as well, and so is Pat Narduzzi.
Is it good?
Pat Narduzzi firing a shot.
Again?
Shot.
He's always taking shots. Is it at Addison?
No, it's at Deion. And he might not be wrong. Wait for it. Let's get him first. Wait, it was pretty good stuff.
I don't have time for this today. Do I need to put my red wig
first,
on?
a message from Guardian Alarm. They're your local security experts, have been for over 90 years. You see this black and yellow sign out in front of your house that tells the bad guys one thing.
Stay out.
Whether you are at home or on the road, their 24/7 professional monitoring, customized solutions from real experts, and technology backed by people means one thing: you're protected by the best. Call this number right here, 1-800.
Stay out.
1-800.
Stay out.
Call them today. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you.
Stay out.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zaniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
All right, guys, let me get right to this. Braylon, I'm curious to see what you think about this, because when I first heard Pat Narduzzi took a shot at Deion, I was like, who is this guy? He's probably just trying to get a little publicity for himself, and he's doing that.
So Michigan State?
And he's doing that. Yeah, Pat Narduzzi, formerly of Michigan State, now the head coach at University of Pittsburgh. So here's what he said about Deion Sanders. When you become a head coach, you inherit that team and you coach that team. If someone wants to leave, that's great. You don't kick them out. I disagree with the whole process. That's not why I got in the game. Now, he never called out Deion by name, but was asked about him on the roster overhaul.
Right. I believe 71 individuals have entered the transfer portal since Deion has come to Colorado. Since the announcement of Deion coming to Colorado to now, 71, the most ever since the transfer portal has come into existence. So that is a hefty number. But look, Colorado Buffalo sucked. Last time I checked, they won 11. They won one game last year. Didn't win that many games before that. Didn't win that many games when Mel Tucker was there. Like they're a program that has struggled. Last time that program was relevant was 2002. I think they won the Big 12 championship and the surprise win over Nebraska. look, you needed to change the direction of that program. Deion said, look, I'm going to give you a chance. Like, you'll have this spring to decide if you want to be here. You'll have this spring to impress upon us if you can play. It's almost impossible to get 71 great players in the transfer portal. So the fact that 71 guys left, it lets you know they did not fit what Deion was doing. They didn't want to be there for whatever reason, whether they couldn't cut it, whether they didn't like Deion, whether they didn't like how he got there, whatever. That's all fine and dandy, but Deion was brought there to turn that program around. And with that being said, he is on a mission to turn that program around. Last time I checked, I saw 42,000 people at their spring game. I repeat, 42,000 people at their spring game. He is already on the right track in terms of getting the school back in good graces, popularized. But now you got to get some wins. And you can't win with the guys that they had. At least they have the transfer portal.
Hey, Narduzzi's had a few rough years. Last year he went after the USC
Jordan Addison
guy because of Jordan Addison. He said, "Hey man, he colluded. I mean, he went in here and he poached my player. Now he's looking over his shoulder again at Colorado. I mean, he's at Pittsburgh. You can only do so much at that school. That's a fact. Back in the day when Dan Marino and Tony Dorsett were there, they were winning a national championship. That ain't a national championship place anymore. Maybe it's a little jealousy is what I'm saying.
But they've been good, though.
There's a lot of it. I think the point I don't have a problem with is the, when you go to a school, you coach that team. Now the transfer portal does allow you to have stuff. I don't know if Deion kicked anybody out. Maybe it was too hard for those players and they didn't want any part of it. I do agree with you, Braylon. This is a new college football. You can have a complete overhaul if you want. If a kid chooses to stay there, though, and I don't know that this has happened. Right. I don't know that it hasn't, though. If a kid wanted to stay at Colorado, but you forced him out if you needed his scholarship, I don't like that.
Right.
I don't know if
How
that
about
happened,
holding back tape from other schools, because he's done that before. You remember?
Yes.
Players have come out and say, hey, if you want to see my tape, I guess you could try to ask the coach, but he ain't letting you have it. So, Deion's kind of holding back a little there.
To a certain extent, I agree with you. That I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like they withheld that kid's tape. That's something you don't do. I can agree with you on that, Mass. Deion has no right to hold that kid's tape back that's trying to get to another institution. What I would say was, Ryan, if this was 2001, if this was 1988 and the guy's coming up there and he's just like, yo, all y'all got to get out of here. Like, all y'all, or you're forcing guys out. I understand that. You can't. But this is not. This is 2023 where the transfer portal does exist. What I'm going to do is, Ryan, I'm going to wait to hear from players that entered the transfer portal and see what that process was like before I fully make a decision. Because right now I say, hey, when I'm with Deion, like, hey, transfer portal's open. You guys are 1-11 last year. I want the best players, and you don't fit the bill. But at the same time, I reserve judgment, because if it's situations where Deion is pushing guys out, if it's situations where guys can play and Deion's trying to bring other guys in, et cetera, then that's a little different. I want to hear from the players that left. It's 71 players, so I'm sure all 71 can't keep their lips tight. We'll see what happens in the next coming weeks or so. I want to hear some stories.
Now, Deion did respond to this in kind. He did not mention Narduzzi's name either, but here's what he had to say about this. He posted, "Why are you so concerned about what folks say about you? Are you afraid that the things they say are all lies or a lot of the truth? You know your critics has critics, so how could you possibly allow them to define you? Be who God called you to be, and don't concern yourself with people's perceptions and misconceptions of you." He is not worried what anybody on the outside of those doors in Boulder think of what he's doing inside his house.
He's a Hall of Famer
at the University of Colorado.
Narduzzi's still mad Mel Tucker's the head coach of Michigan State, because that was supposed to be his gig. I go to Pittsburgh for a couple years. I figured out here. I get my cachet up, and then when Mark's ready, when he's ready,
next.
You said what?
He's next.
Well, now he is.
Yeah.
But he's mad he got passed over in the first place. And then by him getting passed over, it allowed who to get a $10 million a year contract.
Yep.
That's what started the hate for Pat Narduzzi.
Hey, maybe part of the 71 players in the Colorado transfer portal, we just call it like it is, maybe a little bit of that is the kids are soft.
Yeah.
Maybe the kids are soft. And here's what Deion Sanders says about kids being soft. He's calling out the parents. Here's what Deion Sanders says about bad parents, as he calls them, weak parents. Deion Sanders says, kids are different because parents are different. Parents are babying everyone right now. There's no tough, hard-nosed parents anymore. The reason is because most of us have done better than our parents. and I think everybody in this room has done better than their parents.
That's
right?
100%.
We look back at our lives and say, you know what? When I'm a parent, I'm going to treat my kid so much better. I'm going to make sure I get my kid the big wheel, that rock'em sock'em robots that he really wanted. But you want it to be better, and you're doing that. You don't even understand. You're negating what makes you who you are. What makes you tough, what makes you who you are is because of what you dealt with as a kid. What makes you firm and who you are is because of what you've been through as a kid, and you came through it. You may be smelling like smoke, but you came through it. You don't want your kid to go through that, and that's when we cripple kids because we're babying them. Every time they fall down as a kid, you pick them back up. No, let them fall and sit there. I just love it. I just freaking love it.
I have a hard time doing it though.
Yeah, well,
as a father, and
I
I'm
do too.
I'm the loving parent. Not that Kathy's not loving.
I do
but
too.
I'm not the disciplinarian, and I have a hard time letting to see my daughter cry. I don't want to see it. So I don't think I'm a soft parent.
Deion is speaking.
I do.
Probably.
Deion speaking facts. Look, we're all
No, not you, me. I'm speaking about me.
Soft parents, and it's okay in terms of what Deion is saying. Listen, look at our parents that were, or our grandparents, or let's say the generation that was born in the 30s, and then the generation that was born in the 50s, and how they were different, and in the 70s, and just keep going. It got better and better and better in terms of how you treat it. You want to make sure you give your kids what you didn't have. You want to make sure the road is easier for you than what your kids' road is. And now, as opposed to back in the day, look, I went to school in Georgia in 1989 and 90. We still got butt whoopers in school.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we still got paddled in school. Like, your back in the day, your neighbors could beat your ass if you acted up. Your parents didn't even have to give you the whooping because your neighbors already did. And back in the day, when you got in trouble or something was said, what did your parents say to you, Maz, when they first saw you? What did you do? Nowadays, when parents see their kids, what is it?
What did they do?
They're looking at the coach. Coach, what did you do to my son?
Yeah.
Teacher, what did you do to my son? Like, what did this person do to my son or my daughter or non-binary? Like, it's what did someone... I mean, I got to be honest. It's where we live in. What did someone else do? And that's how they have it, because kids are baby and they go back to the bosom always.
Well, what's the saying? It takes a village, right?
It used to.
No, it still does. We just don't do it anymore because if the neighbor slaps your kid on the hand or whatever, you're calling the police 100%. And you're suing the neighbor.
Yeah.
If a teacher yells at your kid, you're calling the administration trying to get that teacher fired. If a coach gets in your face and grabs your face mask and shakes you a little bit, you know what? That coach is getting fired. You know, if the coach gets down and prays with you, that coach is getting fired.
You know,
I mean, come on, what are we doing?
I agree. I think about like Ryan, Maz, like we all played sports in eras when we were in middle school, like we were youth, when we were young. I remember playing for the Detroit Cubs. I remember how the coaches talked to us over there at the Detroit Cubs, Patowski Field. I remember some of the things I heard. I'm kind of looking at my dad like, damn, Dad, you gonna let him talk to me like that? And yes, he let him talk to me like that. Where did I end up? I mean, I'm not saying that was the exact reason.
It helped.
But at the same time, it definitely helped because I knew not to complain. I knew not to run to my pops. Stuff happened in Ann Arbor, in Michigan. I couldn't go run to pops because pops was like, "Hey, man, I had to deal with Bo." He said, "Po's way worse than Lloyd, so get your ass back up to Ann Arbor and figure it out." Like, they got to get more of that. I agree with you, Ryan.
No doubt.
That's in everything too, right?
Yeah.
It's not just sports.
No,
it's any profession.
You know, so I talked to a business owner. I'm not going to name his name because I didn't tell him I was going to tell this story, but he owns a restaurant.
Yeah.
And they can't get anybody. They can't get anybody to work at the restaurant. He has this kid. He's going to pay him $20 an hour to be a dishwasher. Because that's how bad you got to pay. You know, back in the day, you pay a dishwasher $12, $13, $14 an hour maybe. Now nobody's walking in the door for less than $20.
Wow.
And showed up 10 minutes late to work, and he didn't even yell at him. He was just like, "Hey, you know, you got to be here on time. You know, got to be here on time. This is the first
I'm
first
doing
week
you
of
a
work."
favor.
Left.
Screw you.
Dropped
I'm doing
his
you a
apron
favor.
and left.
I hate these.
You can't even. God, all he said was, "You have to. Can you try to be on time next time? You can't be late. We need you. We're busy." And the guy took his apron off and left. $20 an hour job. Took his apron off and left. $20 an hour to be a dishwasher.
Because the problem is he started ahead of the curve. The owner started behind the 8 ball already, and it was already in the kid's favor. And now he walks out of there, and now what does the owner got to do? Owner's got to call him damn near and apologize because he needs a dishwasher. He's got to call him. Look, I'm sorry I told you not to be late.
I'd rather wash my own dishes.
It's crazy, man.
$20 an hour.
I'd rather wash my own damn dishes. I do it at home anyway. What the hell's the difference?
Oh, man, it's crazy,
You know,
man.
I quit the dishwasher job when I was a kid.
How much did you make?
It was nothing, but I worked.
25 cents.
The restaurant was back in the day. It was called Hula Hands. I don't know if they had them here in Michigan.
Hands.
Okay, so
They had a hat.
Yeah,
like a hat on the logo.
They did.
Had a hat. There was one in Somerset.
So they opened this brand new Hula Hands in this posh mall in Secaucus, New Jersey. So I get to be one of the first people there. So they train us as a waiter, they train us as a busboy, they train us as a host, and they train you as a dishwasher. Because in that business, you had to do something every single day. So it came to first of all, as a waiter, I loved it. Busboy, okay, I could do that. Host was easy. Then they threw me in the dishwasher room. And I'm like, this ain't me, man.
Have you ever quit a job?
This is not.
Hell yes.
I'm sorry. I said, I'm sorry. I can't. Everything's piling up. They're like, Tom, you gotta move the stuff. We need the stuff. And it's this small little room. And the freaking place was hot as hell.
Did
the
you
hot
have a
water's
fishnet stocking
oh
jacket?
yeah, I had the freaking hat. I had the apron. I had the rubber apron.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm like, I can't do this.
You quit a job.
I quit.
Oh, yeah. I was docking boats in Grosse Pointe one year.
You
I was
quit docking boat? That sounds fun as hell.
I know. I was like, this ain't for me. I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
You know what I'm about to say.
I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
I quit a job working at Western Market. Western Market down the street, man, on 9 Mile.
What were you stocking?
So I thought I was stocking, and then I got there, it was like stocking. Then I got the sweeping and mopping. I was cool with that. Then it was rotate onions. Then it was like, you got to vacuum the onion peeling so it looks fresh. Rotate the tomatoes. I was cool with all that. Then it was go get the buggies outside. I was like, wait, that wasn't in the contract. Then I was the young kid that was in high school. So then they had me unloading off the dock. Man, I dropped my apron too. I was like, look, you ain't
the unloading off the dock, that's got to stop.
I got to leave here and go to football practice. Nah, I'm out. I took my 1 week check and I was done.
We'll be back to wrap it up next. I want to get Braylon's take, and we do know now what's happening with the MHSAA state finals in football. We'll get to that next. But first, a message from Randy Wise.
All right, what could be better than watching celebrities like Braylon and D-Mac play golf? I'll tell you what, play golf yourself and being treated like a celebrity. That's what's better. Stop in any Randy Wise dealership for your chance to play golf like a celebrity. VIP transportation, free golf to one of Michigan's best tracks, and a tasty steaks, compliment of Fairway Packing. Make the wise decision and get to Randy Wise today for your chance to win.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports. How would you like to win not one, but 2 vehicles of your choice? One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Get to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win. Courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome. Detroit sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
WoodwardSports.com. Listen daily on all podcast apps. Leave that 5-star review. You know what time it is. Tom Mazawey, you want to get through a couple of things?
I do. Great hockey game last night. Congratulations to the Florida Panthers, the little 8 seed that would not be stopped. They beat the Carolina Hurricanes last night with 4 seconds to go in this game, 3-2, after a power play on the last minute of play. You thought this game was going to overtime. Carolina tied it with about 4 minutes to go, and back come the Panthers to win it, and they are sitting waiting for the winner of tonight's game, the Vegas Knights against the Dallas Stars. Vegas up 3-0. But how about those Panthers, huh?
They gave it a good shot.
How about them?
Gotta love the Panthers, man. Last year they were the number 1 seed, and you saw what happened to them, much like the Boston Bruins this year. Good for them to rebound this year, and they are playing strong. The Vegas Knights and the Panthers, it's gonna be a damn good
Miami
series.
and Vegas, pretty nice stops
Man, can you
for the
imagine somebody
Stanley
won both
Cup.
of those?
Stanley Cup's going to be sweating.
I'm telling you like that. Ooh, until the end.
Hey, Tigers beat the Royals last night. Good for them. They're one
Good
game
for
out
them.
of the in the loss column to the Minnesota Twins. They play the White Sox, start a 7-game homestand. The Rangers come in after this. So you got the White Sox tonight. I want to show you something from a couple days ago. Look at these division records. This is from a couple days ago. Look at the AL Central's winning percentage.
It's not good.
It's the worst in baseball.
100 wins. And it's not even close. The NL Central has 11 more wins than them, and they're not even. It's not even close.
AL East
It's not even
ridiculous.
close.
Isn't that something?
AL East is ridiculous.
Hey, before we leave today, I got to mention the greatest of all time, my favorite of all time, the great Muhammad Ali, the great champion, 58 years ago tonight in Lewiston, Maine. Sonny Liston, the rematch against Muhammad Ali. Ali with the Phantom Punch, knocking out Liston in the first round. The Phantom Punch with the Nation of Islam watching in the front row. And death threats galore to Sonny Liston. He took the fall, and Ali stood over him like that. Please put that picture back up again, because that is one of the elite pictures in all of sports.
So Ali, so you believe Sonny took the?
Oh,
took
there's
the
no question.
For the mob, right?
Yes.
So what happened in the second fight?
This is the second fight.
Oh, I'm tripping.
Yeah.
So the first fight
This
was
is the
was the
rematch.
first fight to die?
I don't think so.
No,
first fight he
yeah.
earned it.
No, he earned it.
This one was the Lewiston, Maine, man. This was as dirty as it comes, this fight.
Hey, man, they've had to fix
Charles
boxing
Sonny
for a
Liston.
very
Later,
long time.
after this, just maybe, I don't know, maybe months after this, maybe a year after this, he was found dead in a hotel room.
Ouch.
Oh, man.
That's a morbid ending.
Yep,
to
but
the
I'll
show.
tell you what, if you guys ever want to watch a phenomenal documentary, it's on, I forget what network it is, just talk in your remote and say Sonny Liston. And check out the documentaries on Sonny Liston. He led a tough, rough life. He was a great champion, a great boxer.
My remote's gonna
obviously
say,
never got his just due.
My remote's gonna say 0 searches found. I actually watched him like try to fight because I never like understood him as a boxer, you know, because they always show him on the mat. They'd always show that infamous fight. So I went back and watched him. He actually was a good boxer. He actually had a lot of good fights.
The
back
brown
in the day.
bear, they called him.
Yeah, he was just an ugly scrapper. Like, he was just a brawler. What are you laughing at,
dude? I sent you.
I saw
don't
what
even
you
know.
sent me.
I don't even know if we can put it on the show, but it's a funny picture of a dog sitting.
I saw
sitting
it.
down.
I saw it. Don't
I'm
believe
glad I keep your interest, and you go online and send him dog pictures. I'm glad I hope I'm keeping everyone else interested at
Hey,
least.
look, man. We're just trying to
I
get
guess
the
this is
junkie
not
ready.
enough. I mean, the Muhammad Ali story isn't enough
That's a
to
great
keep
Muhammad
Ryan
Ali
Armani
story.
interested
I love
in what I
got
got to say.
Man, look, it's fine.
The Florida
It's fine.
Panthers is like, hey, they had a good run. No, they won. They didn't have a good run. They won.
Okay, man.
You know, they're the winning hockey team.
I did catch.
You think I was going to let that go? I'm not now. I'm not going to let it go.
I did catch that.
You pay attention. You pay attention.
I caught it, but I didn't want to bust my boy out. I was like,
Back in the day when I used to do the videos in the day, these two guys would go to sleep. That's why I don't do videos in the day anymore.
Oh shit! I mean, you had some iffy videos in there, man. I felt like I supported you do that. Though.
A little bit.
So funny.
But Ryan
He
gives
would
me no
always be
support on
delirious.
that.
Oh God!
No support.
Hey, Michigan High School Athletic Association going to play their game Saturday, Sunday at Ford Field because Michigan State can't sell out their building in East Lansing on Friday.
Are you?
Oh,
Shots fired.
So they got to come to Ford Field and play Penn State. So that's good. Break us out of here. Wrap it up.
How do I follow that?
You don't. You
How
just
do
say
I-
goodbye.
How do I follow that? Look.
Do you see what they're saying to me on the chat? No. All the old jobs I've had. Maz, his father took him to plow Sonny Liston. Bring back Maz videos, Maz Revere. Back when Maz earned his first nickel, it was a week's pay and a mortgage payment.
Goodbye, everybody. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow.
I'm not that old.
Say,